Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming for another session of Building from Ground Up. I'm Daniel Adeyemi, senior reporter at Tech Cabal. And today we're going to have a great and insightful session talking to Tito Ovia. We're going to learn about how to assemble a star founding team. Welcome, everyone. So this program, the Building from Ground Up series, is powered by the UK Nigerian Tech Hub with Tech Cabal as an implementing partner. Trust we're going to have a great time. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. I trust that we'll share information about ourselves. As we go forward, I would just like to say a bit about this series. I'm sure there are people that are here for the first time or people that have been here a couple of times. As we get talking, I'm sure I'll see some familiar names. So the Building from Ground Up series seeks to bring together founders from Nigeria and the UK tech ecosystem to share their stories of building and scaling, as well as useful, instructive insights for founders and aspiring founders. We've had a number of this conversation. For example, last week on the 4th episode, I spoke to Femi Adeyemo, CEO of Energy, and he shared very, very insightful lessons on operational excellence with us. The video for that session will soon be available, but then you can catch up on other episodes we've had. We've had a session last year with AutoCheck CEO Eto Ikpe. A few weeks ago, we spoke to Imisi 3D's founder, Judith Nkonkwo. And then we've also spoken to the co-founders of MedZav, Vivian and Joa. So these are all on the UK Nigeria Tech Hub's YouTube channel. So yeah, so you can catch up with the past episodes of this. Welcome, Chile Bim. Where are you from? Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Yeah, so we're looking forward to have a great time at this session. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. All right, so I'm introducing our guest, Tito Ovia. And before I call her up, I'd just like to read a short citation about Tito. So Tito is the co-founder and head of public sector growth at Helium Health. Her childhood dream was to provide world-class care to as many people as she could across Africa. Today, she leads Helium Health. She leads Helium Health, Africa's largest health tech provider, as it builds the technology and data infrastructure to make it easier for anyone, regardless of their social or economic status, to access quality health care on the continent. In her role as head of public sector growth at Helium Health, she fosters public-private partnerships that accelerate Africa's transition to technology and a data-driven healthcare system. Her work in African healthcare has helped make her a Forbes 30 Under 30 recipient and a winner of the Future Africa Award for Disruption. When Tito is not working on fixing healthcare in Africa, she's occupied with Feminist Coalition, the women's rights advocacy group she helped found that is promoting equality for women in the Nigerian society with a core focus on education, financial freedom, and representation in public office. Yeah, awesome. So that's about Tito. So at this point, I'd like to welcome Tito up. Hi, Tito. I see you're there. You can unmute.
Hi, morning. How's you doing?
Morning. Good to get to.
Let's hope that the internet gods will smile down on us today.
Well, they better do. They've been kind. They've been kind the past few weeks.
They've been kind, right?
We're not talking about light or petrol. So yeah, it should be good.
So hopefully we'll be good, right?
Okay, so we're happy to have this conversation with you. Today we're going to be talking about how to assemble, a staff founding team. And naturally, I'd like to start with, just getting to hear about how did you meet your co-founders, Dimeji and Goke? How easy was it to, or difficult was it to align with them on the vision to transforming healthcare? And, there are people in the audience that are curious, what advice would you have for startups that are facing similar problem? But let's start with the story of, how you guys met and how easy it was to align?
Okay. So what was really interesting about the story of how we met was that I had just quit my job working at the Lagos State AIDS Control Agency, where, doing HIV/AIDS prevention for Lagos State. Anybody that lives in Lagos or, maybe any other metropolitan city sometimes, everybody is somehow connected or interlinked in some way, whether your cousin's neighbor went to law school with somebody else that you then happen to bump into. And that honestly was the story with Dimeji and I. I was in need for a new adventure in my life, trying to figure out what to do next in the healthcare space. I can't lie, I was like everyone else, I wanted to jump back. I wanted to leave. However, I wasn't getting accepted anywhere. No, we have to say the truth. I wanted to jump back.
You just came back.
And I remember one of my friends, one of my friends had gone to law school with Dimeji. And, he had mentioned, he was talking to me, he was like, yeah, there are these guys, they want to do, tech and healthcare. But the problem is that none of them are healthcare people. So they don't really know what they're doing in the direction and stuff. Just have a, talk with them. They're cool. They're like, yeah, have a talk with them. They're cool guys, everything like that. So, I remember so clearly I met Goke and Dimeji in Southern Sun, and it was meant to be like a 1 hour meeting where they talked about, we're called One Medical then, when they talked about what we were doing, what they were doing. And it ended up being like 7 hours long. And I think what was very clear was that we sort of all connected on our drive, on our interests. We talked about, of course, there has to be some, Nigeria bashing about why don't things work properly. Sort of the differences that we found now, like to when, we move back, from abroad to what we see and the certain problems that are still there that we thought would be fixed. So we really just connected on sort of a deeper level of wanting to be able to come back and provide value and sort of fix our country. Because of course we all sort of realized that, look, abroad, there's a glass ceiling. So that was really it. And, that's how we started that crazy journey.
Okay, that's interesting. Interesting to hear that you had come back to the country and you wanted to leave again, but, fortunately you didn't leave and you guys,
and I'm still here.
Yeah, you're still here. Yeah, good to hear that, beyond just talking about the problem, you're able to actually get to it. Now I'm curious about, like the biggest challenge you faced when the team was starting out. I mean, I remember reading some about, I think it was Olubusi talking about, first 10 to 15 customers, right? Convincing them, like, doctors, but you're like, come and use our platform, right? But that's just one among the biggest challenges when you were starting out.
So let me even, I think that definitely is the biggest challenge, and I even want to elaborate on it. So, we live in such an ageist society, right? And I'm sure that, you face it as well. In fact, maybe your beard helps you a little, but we live in such an ageist society, right? Where it's that, because you're young, they assume that maybe you don't know what you're talking about, you don't have the knowledge or anything like that. So for first 10, 15 clients, the question we got was, okay, so who do we hold if anything goes wrong with our hospital or the software? And we're like, oh, no, it's us. They're like, no, seriously, who do we hold? Like, who's the real owner of the company? And, I laugh now, right? But again, it's unfortunate, it's a society that we live in, right? Where, of course, if you're young, you must know what you're talking about, or you must have other people that we can hold accountable because, again, you guys are these, young, early 20s people. You guys don't have anything to your name now, so please pause all this. So that was difficult. It's definitely, I think what was also difficult as well was in the beginning, sort of everybody really finding their own strengths and sticking to it. So of course, when you're a small team of about 5, 6, right, everybody kind of does everything. So what was very hard for us in the beginning was being able to say, okay, do you know what? Dimeji, you're not maybe the best growth person and interacting with clients, things like that. So do you know what? Let's stick you with the operations. Let's stick you with finance, things like that. You know what, okay? Heck, you don't even really like interacting with these clients either. But however, your product whiz, right? You're amazing with the product and the tech stack. Just stay there, okay? Tito, God knows you don't know anything about tech to save your life. And you're not maybe the best operator either. However, you like people and you don't mind, staying with a client for 2 hours, just thinking about their pets and their grandchildren. So maybe you're the best person to be client facing. So really in that beginning, us sort of finding our niche was difficult and sort of sticking to it because it's almost like a scramble, right? It's like all hands on deck. Okay, let's go. Let's try and get customers. Let's try and do things all together and stuff. But really saying, do you know what, guys, let's divide and conquer. So I think that was quite difficult in the beginning to be able to sort of ascertain without anybody kind of feeling like they were letting down the other person or letting down the team, or they weren't contributing to the effort of growth. It was that everybody's contributing, but just in their own different pods. So I think that of course, was a very important thing to be able to do. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's very insightful. Definitely picked that you like people, and yeah. So just to touch, I know you started off as executive director, and now it's head of growth. So I'm curious, which are you? And I suppose you just explained how that transition happened.
No, of course. So, I generally hate titles because, again, what do all these things mean, right? Even when anybody says co-founder, it's which work do you do as a co-founder? What's in your JD? I'd love to see co-founder JD.
At the beginning,
I know. So that's the job, right? I play. So my real everyday work that I'm being, paid to do, and sort of this is, the new transition, is that I sort of head our Nigeria growth, right? So of course, over the years in Helium, we've, acquired several companies. We've sort of grown into different markets, and of course, it's a need to really, focus down. So any growth that really has to do with, the Nigerian market, that really is my focus. So public sector, private sector, things like that. And ensuring, of course, as well, the adoption of our solution amongst the different stakeholders that we have. So yes, that basically is what I do.
Okay, all right. That's growth. We'll leave the other titles. Growth co-founder, right? Yeah, so all right, we'll leave it for now. Yeah. So I know you've spoken about how the team, the founding team came together, but we're curious about, we have different people coming together, and I'm curious about what principles or processes you put in place and how you are able to manage conflicts, right? Because I don't think, this question, you're all smiles, but it's not, it's not always been like that, right? And I imagine there will be times where there are contending issues. So, what are things you put in place to ensure that the relationship, is working or worked out?
Of course. So, what's interesting is that I actually like conflict. And I know that sounds weird because I think there's good conflict, right? Because it means that nobody is a sheep, right? If there's an idea and all of a sudden everyone says, yeah, that's fantastic. And then there's the exact opposite idea and they're like, yeah, that's fantastic. It means that nobody is actually thinking and nobody is then invested in the true growth of the organization. So, the guys think I'm crazy because whenever there is any kind of, argument or disagreement about, the direction we want to go in and things like that, I love it because I'm like, look, you're well thinking. Everybody's thinking. We're brainstorming. And they're like, oh God, Tito is coming again. I'm like, yes, fight. No, because it's fantastic because that is true. Because don't tell anybody. For somebody goes, I'm jacking in the street somewhere. But but no, but truthfully, like, right, for me, that is when the best ideas come. And truly, if somebody doesn't challenge you with your idea, then you never defend it, right? You have to be able to defend why you want to go in that direction, why you believe it's the best direction. And there must be a winner, right? But again, it's like a debate almost, right? Like, choose why you feel your direction is the best for the company, right? Choose why your strategy is the best. Choose why, like, debate, talk about it, bring facts, bring ideas, like things like that. And through that, other people learn as well. So for me, everybody shouldn't necessarily look at conflict as a horrible thing or be like, oh my God, I'm fighting with my co-founders. This is horrible. What do we do? It's necessary if everybody's truly invested in the growth of the company. Because truthfully, right, if you ever have to doubt for 1 minute or anything like that, do they really want the best for the organization? Are they making the best decisions for the organization? Then again, they're not supposed to be your co-founders. So that in itself is even a fundamental issue. But conflict is great. So, of course, things that we do, making sure that we do like sort of like management courses, leadership courses. We try and have mediators when we have these fights, right? So it's not just us. So for example, whether, different advisors and sort of pitching to them the different directions that, we're thinking of. So again, there are neutral parties that are, of course, as well, heavily invested in the growth of the company as well, that we can be able to bounce off, and they can as well provide their opinions. And maybe sometimes neither of us have the greatest idea, right? So it's like, look, both of you, all of you are chatting shit, go back to the drawing board, because what everybody is saying is not making sense. So yeah, long story short, there's good conflict, right? But I always say try and have mediators and advisors that you can also be able to come to if there's a deadlock and be like, look, okay, we're both thinking about this in different directions. What do you think? And again, it's almost like a pitch as well. Everybody should pitch their direction, right? And may the best pitch win. Yeah. And, I would also say for that, right, if you can't convince your co-founders, right, on a direction, then how are you also going to convince the outside world and your investors and the board? Because anybody that should be able to believe you first, right, should be your co-founders. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's insightful, being open to conflict and also, external advice. Just to build up on that, I know that people will say, working with a co-founder is somewhat similar to like dating, like you have to vibe, right? So I'm curious, in your opinion, what makes a good co-founder, right? I know you guys vibe on the issues of Nigeria, but hey, I mean, it had to be more than that, right? For it, yeah. So maybe what makes a good co-founder? Just a few things top of mind.
So for everybody, it's very different, but for me, trust is such a big thing. Like I have to be able to close my eyes and believe that you're not going to lead me off a cliff, right? Plain and simple. Sorry, I'm here with all these like funny analogies, right? But yeah, literally, trust is a major thing for me. I would also say as well, right? Like, you're perfectly right. It is like dating. And when you date, families get intertwined. Families are blended. In fact, I think I've threatened my co-founders when we've had conflicts. I'm going to call their parents.
Wow.
I report to them. I report to them because people are not thinking correctly. So let me call your mother and father so that they can put reason into you, right? So, again, like that in itself too is very important. Like having that openness. And I think as well, everybody has to also be at the right stage in their lives, at the sort of around the same stage in their lives. And I know that sounds strange, but if, for example, you decide that, look, this needs to be a high growth startup, everybody goes, no matter what, right? Then again, everybody must also have the time and the bandwidth to be able to do that. And the truth about the matter is that depending on the other, personal responsibilities that other people might have, they may not be able to commit as well to that. So what may seem as, one co-founder slacking is truly that they just have other priorities that have already been in their life. So again, and I would say that everybody has to be at similar stages in their lives when they start. When you grow and you become a $1 billion company and things like that, and you have 1 million staff to run around, again, it's a lot easier because of course you put the foundation there. But when you're starting, I think it's so important that everybody is at similar stages of their life. I think that values as well, you also align on the same values. And of course, the initial sort of direction of how you see this is where you want to end up and the vision, right, should also be aligned. So for example, if one co-founder's motivation is, look, I want to become like Elon Musk, right? And then the other co-founder's motivation is, oh, I want to become, the greatest philanthropist, like, with the organization. Again, one is a serial capitalist and the other, again, right, everybody has to be able to align on, okay, where do we want to end up with this? How do we see this ending up? Again, you might not know how you're going to get there, but again, the end vision is all the same for everyone. So I'll say those things are the most important. Yeah, when you're looking at co-founders.
Okay, thank you so much. I found the last point really enlightening. The point about where they are, the phase they are in their lives. It's been a very enlightening session. I see people sending in questions. Please, like my colleague has said, send in your questions to Q&A box. After a while, we'll soon start, asking questions from the audience, right? So let's just keep our questions coming. I've seen really good questions. Let's just keep them coming. Okay, back to the questions I have, from people that sent when they registered for the event. So someone is asking, and I feel like this is many questions together. So, like, is it compulsory to have co-founders at all? Right? If yes, is there an ideal number? You guys are 3, and 3 is it's a cute number, right? 3 musketeers, 3. All right. So so do you think founders can scale a startup without co-founders? So I think they're all intertwined, really. So what's your experience been like? Or what do you think?
So you don't need to have co-founders. I would say this, you don't. You can decide that, you want to be the only founder, right? Which is also fine. However, you must be able to have a strong executive team around you. Because again, right, look, there has to be a belief that outside of you, the founder, again, God forbid anything happens to you, you decide you're not doing this anymore. Again, whatever happens in life as lives, there's a strong executive team that you've been able to empower and build up that can be able to do the heavy lifting. So it's not just always you that investors are seeing and partners are seeing. So again, yes, you can be the only founder, but again, it's so important that if you then do that, you incentivize and you also empower a strong executive team. So your CFO, your COO, different people like that, your chief growth officers, different people. So it's essential that you then do that. However, on the other end, and you could also argue that these people do that as well, that having co-founders, especially in the beginning, before you get to that stage where you built up that strong sort of seller team with their strong backgrounds, or before maybe you even get the capital, is that it can be a very lonely process. There are so many trials and tribulations that we've gone through as Helium that I'm so grateful I've had co-founders to be able to go out and cry to when it feels like everything is over. I don't think that anybody can take that, away from it. I mean, again, I'm coming with another weird analogy, right? But, imagine if Nigeria is mommy and daddy and, mommy and daddy are fighting and you're an only child, right? It's lonely. Who do you go and complain to? Who do you go and talk to? It's between you and your God, literally. Again, what if your neighbor isn't receptive, right? That's going on. It's different having somebody actually in it with you that literally experiences everything day to day, that, even some things are just unsaid, right? And it goes without saying. So again, I would also say, look, in the beginning, you may find it a lot more difficult. However, though, you don't have to, and you can always establish a stellar team afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, are you going to throw a number? I mean, for people that want co-founders, any ideal number?
There's no, I mean, there's no ideal, right? I mean, there's no ideal number. I mean, I would say don't gather people for the sake of gathering people, right? don't be like, oh, my guy has to be my co-founder now. It's my guy, I've known him since primary one. Like, you know, I mean, don't do that. You know, everybody must have a place for certain things, right? So there's no ideal number, but I mean, obviously, you know, this goes without saying if you're thinking like this, right? But you know, the more you have, the less you then get, right? Because you have to split more. But again, if that doesn't matter to you and you just rather want to have a battalion and a 10 person team, fantastic. But yeah, I don't think there's an ideal number.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Whoever asked that question, I hope you've got your answer. There's no ideal number. Don't gather everybody. Yeah, just keep it lean. And you know, what I hear you say is, I mean, you're grateful you're able to work with co-founders, but you also realize that, hey, you can be a solo founder and have a great team that will back you up. Ultimately, it's about having that support network, either
exactly
co-founders or, you know, employees. Now talking about, you know, employees, the questions about, you know, how to attract. So I haven't gotten the founding team, how to attract like the best, you know, talents to join your team. This questions in different folds. People asking, you know, when all you have is an idea, asking without promising equity. I mean, yeah. So, what do you think? What has been your approach or Helium Health's approach? You know, you get in the early days. Now, I mean, maybe life is a bit soft now, but yeah, in the early days, what was it like? Yeah.
So I would say life is most definitely not soft now. Do you know why? Because it's fintech that is raining. Nobody likes healthcare. Healthcare is not sexy. Look,
well,
it's just. I mean, it's
COVID.
Not. It's not.
Well, COVID showed us that
healthcare is not sexy.
COVID showed us that healthcare was actually like very essential discipline. Well, fintech. Yeah.
Oh, you see now you yourself you're laughing because you know. So let me tell you about how we managed it from the beginning to even now with like our strong exec team, right? So in the beginning, of course, we couldn't afford to be able to even have a meeting with, you know, the kind of, you know, exec team that we had now, because the truth is that we had nothing to offer them. Right. And again, like you said, when you all have is just an idea and maybe a couple of hospitals, and you know, you're not sure yet whether you're really going to make it past the first year. Right. So in the beginning, it was literally just people that we knew. Right. So people that maybe we had come across, you know, who were just fresh out of university, or maybe they just had like one job for like a year or so or something like that. So we really had to sort of forego talent because, of course, we couldn't afford, you know, fantastic talent, right? At that time, or advanced, let me not say fantastic talents, or people with advanced skills at that time, and say, okay, who can we afford that sort of we can be able to build with and grow with and from the ground up? And they're almost like dreamers like us, right? That they themselves are committed to the idea that, you know what, someday this could be something. Because the truth is that's all we had as well, right? So this is the equity that you had. You know whether it was going to turn to dust in your hands. You don't know now. So again, it's nothing but an idea. And so those were the kind of people that we targeted and we spoke with. And, you know, of course, we're very honest that, oh, cool, this is where we are right now. However, this is the dream, this is the vision. And do you want to come on this journey with us? So again, we sold the promise of a tomorrow to our early staff. And some people didn't buy it and some people bought it, right? Which was fantastic. And then as we continue to grow, and I would say sort of post Series A, we really needed to be able to get more skilled or people with more advanced skills. So like our COO, our chief data and product officer, our head of HR, people like that, our head of finance. And for that, we needed to be able to sort of package package what it meant to be a Helium staff, right? And what I mean by that is, okay, right, you may have come from this other organization that you have to report every day at 9 a.m., close at 5 p.m. to specific location. Look, if you're in this high level, if you're part of this exec team or senior management team, look, no problem. You don't have to report to the office. It's okay. We don't mind. You can work from home, things like that. So before everyone started doing the whole work from home thing, we had actually already started it because again, right? Yeah, work from home. We've been doing it since we've been Zooming since. So anyway, I should say that. Yeah. So we had started since because that flexibility, especially with people that, again, right, are at different phases in their life. Maybe they have kids, they have a family, things like that. Again, maybe they live quite far away. They can't be committing to, and it's not attractive for them to have to come somewhere and report every single day. They're looking for something different. So, okay, we're able to do that. We're able to provide other packages. We're able to provide new equity in the ESOP pool. So by the time you put things like that all together, health tech kind of looks a bit more sexy now. It's like, okay, this is a kind of different environment. You're telling me I don't have to report every day. I don't have to do this. As long as I get my work done, as long as I meet my deliverables, that's all anybody cares about. All right, fantastic. I'm going to roll with this. So again, I think by doing that, we're able to attract sort of the amazing talent that we do have now. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. That's good. So I had two things. Show them a promise of tomorrow, a better tomorrow, because that's what you could offer.
You sound like a politician.
Well, there's politics in everything, though. Yeah, so yeah, better tomorrow. Then also being flexible along the way, right, in terms of expectations, so that to accommodate those people. And now, we're here and life is softer, even though you wouldn't admit, but it's fine. Yeah, it's okay. We'll leave it. We'll just keep saying fintech. It's fine. All right. Okay, so I thank you all, everyone. Like the questions that are coming in, thank you. Keep them coming. We'll soon switch to asking these questions. So now let me move away from talent and co-founding. Someone asked, what advice do you have for non-profit organizations trying to use digital media to improve education and healthcare? So I guess that is trying to tap into the growth side of you. Yeah, how has that worked for you in terms using media to improve education? Well, you do healthcare, but I guess you also need to educate people. So yeah.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I would even go back and begin to ask, well, who are you trying to target in the first place, right? So, it's interesting. There are, of course, there are two sides of Helium, right? There are, of course, our private clients and our public sector clients. So, for example, digital media is not necessarily for our public sector clients. They're still reading Punch, watching channel news, and things like that. They're more for traditional media, right? Not to shade those kind of like traditional media outlets, but again, they're so necessary still. They're not, for example, on Instagram, they're not necessarily, appealing to LinkedIn ads. So I would really go back and say you have to think about who you want to target in the first place and why and what you're trying to convey. I don't think that you should run away from using more traditional media outlets, even though you're a tech company, because there's this assumption that you can't put ads in papers or you can't, put a jingle on the radio because you are doing tech. No, you can still do those things. The point is, who are you trying to reach? Who is your target market? Are they the ones that are going to be receptive to Twitter ads and Instagram ads and Facebook ads and things like that? So yes, they definitely do help. We've seen how much like our certain products, like our loan product has worked by digital ads and things like that. But again, who's your target market and why? So you have to analyze that first. Hope that helps.
Okay, yeah, that's been helpful. Yeah, I guess, yeah. So you start from there and, from there you go down the line. Okay, awesome. Still have a lot of questions relating to co-founding, and they all seem to sort of overlap. But yeah, let's go back to Helium Health still. So Helium Health, in the last few years, accomplished a lot, even with the acquisition of Medi in 2021, among other things. How do you see it, like the future playing out? What excites you the most? Right. Yeah, curious about that.
So, I think this new phase, right, of our company, what really excites me is really us, just growing and increasing our footprint, and really expanding as fast as possible. Just because being able to, grow in the GCC region, finding how our products can be sort of received there, being able to see how we can really work towards, our true vision, which is to be able to provide data for all these different, healthcare stakeholders. And, of course, that can only be done as we increase our footprint in Nigeria, and Ghana, and Senegal, and the GCC region, all these other sort of African and sub-Saharan African countries. So it's very exciting, getting more people on board and putting together, a more stellar team of, people that are even more qualified than us, that know what they're actually doing, right? And they themselves who have drank the helium Kool-Aid and bought into this dream. So for me, I'm really excited for this new phase, looking at public health, looking at our data, and really continue to expand our footprint as an organization. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Actually, I like the sound of growth. I like the sound of progress. Yeah, it's
sweet, Abby.
Expanding. Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, we can start talking about health tech now and leave fintech alone.
Hopefully.
I will not leave this down, actually. Yeah. Okay. So there are a few questions, specifically about, finding, technical co-founder, or, picking your team at the beginning of a startup. I think you might have alluded to it, but just curious if you have any thoughts around that. So this person is speaking about a technical co-founder, right? You have two co-founders, right? Yeah. So any tip, and also picking your team at the beginning of the startup.
So what's interesting is that, of course, in the case of Helium, I guess we never had that problem because the CEO is technical himself, right? So again, we never really, and for the longest time, Goke and, when our head of product, Tiger, they, held the helm of, our products and everything, and our product direction, and, our engineering teams and things like that. So to be honest, we really never had a technical, co-founder issue. But I would say that for people that are looking for a technical co-founder, I would straight away jump in and say, why does it have to be a co-founder, first of all, right? Why can't you start with, okay, you know what, this level of exec or senior management or something like that kind of employee. And then you even see what that working relationship is like in the first place, because this is for the assumption that, you've never worked with this person in the first place. You don't necessarily know what they're like in a professional setting. So before you all the way commit to say, Tech Cabal, you can code, be my co-founder. I think take a step, take a step back and sort of even see how you guys work in the first place. And again, you both be honest about your working relationship and see, okay, can we actually be able to work with each other in this capacity? Are we ready to even commit to being in this marriage together as co-founders? And just be very open and honest about it, and maybe even have a probationary period for the both of you to be able to see and explore that. So I would say don't sort of rush straight away and sort of almost the first person you find and that is technically, you're like, okay, yeah, be my co-founder. And they get the idea, okay, be my co-founder. Give it time, because it's almost, this is like marriage, these things they are doing. So do that. And then I believe the second part of the question was, of course, the founding team, right? Or sort of the beginning team that you have outside the co-founders. So, I sort of touched on this before. For us, it was important to have dreamers, right? Like us. For us, it was important to have, again, the same thing, people that were at similar stages of their life, willing to be in the office until, 2 a.m., willing to go the extra mile with us just to be able to see, the growth of the company, right? Until things sort of settle down. So again, you must find sort of similarly people like that in your beginning team, not just necessarily people that are ready to clock in and clock out. Again, if you're a clock in and clock out type of person, then those kind of people are for you, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But again, like I said, it's so important that you do have similar traits and similar values with what you're trying to do, especially with that beginning team, because they will be the ones that will help you to just propel your company to the next stage. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to move to the Q&A section. See, we have a number.
So all this one wasn't Q&A.
Well, no, it was.
It was light Q&A. It was light. It was
people sent it ahead, right? So yeah. But okay. So I have questions from two people that's very similar. Izzy and Diane from Kenya. Izzy is Nigerian, Diane from Kenya. So you're asking. Diane's asking, did Tito and her co-founders find customers before building their Helium Health platform, or did they build it first, right? Let's hold that. I think it's related to Izzy's one because he's asking, he's the co-founder of a streaming platform, Boss Halls, and he's asking, how do you sign up your first client too, right? So when there's no social proof. Yeah. So I think they're a bit related. So maybe we'll start with the one of, did you build it in the world first? You find your customers. I know there are difficulties in signing people up. Yeah.
So we did, and in our case, because of course we're software for facilities, right? People wanted to see something. They needed to see something. They needed to see, buttons clicking and things moving. So we actually did have an MVP. Again, I don't know how people use that product. God bless our first clients, because this is how I know that they really believed in us. Because, hey God, that's how I know that they really believed in us, right? Because it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. Thinking back to it now, but yes, we did have something, and I can't lie. Even back then, we were convinced that we had the baddest products that ever lived. So we had something. That we actually demoed and we showed clients. And I think for us with our product, one thing we really focused was on the UI and the UX, right? So again, how it looked, how it presented, because in our industry, typically electronic medical records platforms, they look like Excel. Not even Google Sheets that has a nice, it literally looks like Excel. They look horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, anyone, if you're by your device right now, you can literally Google EMR and you see what it looks like, right? So we focus on how do we make it pretty, how do we make it attractive so that we can wash our first clients so that they quickly sign up. That was literally the strategy. And of course, what then helped us keep those clients, because of course, like I said, the product wasn't up to scratch. It wasn't perfect in any way, shape, or form. Ideally, nobody should have really been using that product, let's be honest, right? But our communication with our clients is great. Our support with our clients is great. The fact that they could reach any of us at any time, would be down in the facility within an hour, trying to problem solve, or even just talking with them through new ideas, things like that. Again, I think that sort of hands-on touch was so important. So again, everybody's industry is different, right? But for us, yes, it was important that, there was nothing like, oh, let's have a wait list before you launch the product. No, there was nothing like wait list. It was that they needed to see something, our type of clients in our market. And then, I believe the second question from Izzy was about how did you then get your first couple of clients, right? So your first clients will actually come, or your first signups, or however you want to put it, will actually come from your circle, right? Sort of family, friends, things like that. Because who else wants to see you succeed? Unless if your village people are chasing you, right? But again, who else wants to see you succeed? From your family and your friends, right? So, again, that literally is where we first of all started. We said, okay, which of our aunties and uncles own hospitals? And how do we go and beg them, that they should use our software? And that's where we started. And then from there, of course, we got recommendations. And not even from recommendations, we actually would just type in hospital into Google Maps and just drive up and down until, and then we kind of like scam our way in. We were a bit like, the Tinder swindler. We'd like show up and be like, oh yeah, we're here. And we didn't say your enemies, right? Our enemies are after us. We said, that we're like, oh, we're here with a healthcare partnership. And, hospitals, whenever they see a healthcare partnership and you speak really well and things like that, they assume that maybe you're from like an NGO or something, and you want to give them money, or you want to do something for free for them, or run a program for free. So they say, okay, come and see the MD. And then we just get it there, be like, oh, this is what we do. We have software. And literally the MD is like, oh God, these people, they scam their way into my office, and now they can't leave. So yeah, we did a little bit of scamming in the beginning just to get through the door. Because if not, we would literally be in waiting rooms for like the whole day because they would not allow us to see any of the decision makers. So yeah.
Whoa, that's good. A nice analogy there. And like you said, God bless the first customer or the first few customers of Helium Health, right? Yeah.
God really bless them, I swear.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I see some people are still asking questions in the chat box. Please move it to the Q&A section. Thank you very much. I'm curious, someone's asking a question. Is there a need to, I think the question, Jeffrey, is there a need to sign an NDA? What does signing an NDA entail when you're a co-founder? That's deep. So, what do you think about that?
Sorry, I actually missed that part of the question. I just heard NDA. Sorry.
Okay, awesome. I'll go back again. So Jeffrey is asking, what does signing an NDA entail when finding a co-founder? I don't think it's properly worded, but I think it's related to NDA, signing an NDA co-founder. Is that like serving your co-founders, an NDA? Is that a bit extreme? Necessary? Yeah.
So, at what stage are you in the relationship? Are they your co-founder yet? Are you exploring potentially being co-founders? And this is somebody that maybe you've met and you think is cool, like, a networking event or something like that, and you feel, oh, wow, I vibe with this person, that I'm ready to share my idea with them. So I'm assuming that this is at the very beginning of the relationship, and, you want to be able to sort of discuss your idea with this person you've met. So again, it's a non-disclosure agreement, right? Again, it depends on your lawyers, but essentially what it's saying high level is that you're not allowed to go and start, spreading this idea elsewhere. You're not allowed to go and start telling people. Again, depending on how strict it is, and maybe you go into even a deeper agreement. Please, I'm not a lawyer, but so don't hold me to this, right? But you could have things about taking parts of the idea and then not replicating it and things like that in different ways. Again, things are different, but I think it's in the beginning, if it's a concept stage. If the person is already your co-founder and you guys are already working together, things like that, then of course you guys should have a founders agreement, right? So, and that founders agreement basically, talks about the relationship, things to do with equity, things to do with what happens when any co-founder leaves, things like that. So again, that is, of course, once you've decided that you guys are working together, you should have that in place to be able to govern your relationship as co-founders. So yeah, I hope that helped to answer the question.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, NDA, non-disclosure. Thank you, Tito. Thank you, Izzy, in the chat box. I just realized I didn't spell it out. NDA, non-disclosure agreement, right? An agreement to not disclose an idea. Yeah, thank you very much. That's really deep. I've never really thought about that. I know you talk about NDAs with investors, but I guess, could involve anybody.
Yeah.
So going forward, so I have a few questions. So for Zua, I don't know if you would like to ask your question live. If you would like to, I will bring you up after this question. So you can be in standby, right? So this next two questions, they're very similar. So Adegoke Olatoye is asking, he's like, hi Tito, how long did it take you to know your co-founders before starting the company? So I'm curious about how long, and I'm pairing up with this one by an anonymous attendee, which is asking, did Tito know her co-founders before they got to Helium Health together? Right. So yeah, I think you spoke a bit about that, but hey, can say it again.
So actually, I did not know Goke or Dimeji. I mean, I knew of Dimeji socially, right? Because like I said, my friend went to law school with him, and God knows we've probably been at the same event or something like that. But for the life of me, I probably can't remember. So we knew sort of each other, but were we guys and bros beforehand? No. However, though, Dimeji and Goke actually went to King's College together. So they had known each other since, of course, they were literally children, right? And even previously to Helium, they had actually, built a company together, built a product together, and actually sold it off. Hey, sold it off. So they had actually sold it off. So they actually had a great, working relationship. Of course, knew each other, on a deeper level. But no, actually, I didn't know them, sort of personally or on any deep level or anything. So it was almost like that first meeting, we clicked instantaneously. Yeah.
Oh, sounds like destiny or fate. Yeah, but yeah, but she's saying Tito is saying her story. So yeah, so I don't think Omoz is available. So right now we have an opinion poll. Now we're going up. We'd like to ask the attendees a few questions about the event. I think we're bringing that up right now. I think it should be off screen right now. Oh yes, can say it. Are you currently building a startup? Yeah, would you build, with a mutual friend business? So yeah, so just keep on answering it. So yeah. Okay, so if you're available, we'll bring you up actually. Before you come up, because I don't think you're, so Aisha is asking, how did you bypass the layers of bureaucracies in hospital? Did you get the physician buy-in or chief medical officer? How are you able to get them to change old habits and use your product? So I know you're talking a bit about, for lack of better, like good cop, but just I guess asking for more specifics, right? How you're able to, disguise and get a buy-in. Yeah.
Of course.
Maybe different scenarios.
No, of course, I'll give very different scenarios, right? So in the beginning, after we had exhausted, the family and friends list, right? And we had gone through it. I talked about this briefly, that, we would literally type in hospital into Google Maps, and we would drive to the nearest hospital to us. We made sure that we were dressed very nicely, very, very nicely. So no t-shirt style, tech style, anything like that. Tech girl style. We literally, everybody wore proper shirts, maybe even suit and tie. So sometimes shined our shoes, heels, everything. Yeah, we were very, because the truth is that we had to look the part, right? That's the honest truth. So again, this goes back to who is your client, right? So we looked the parts. Not only did we look the part, we also had these are Helium Health like sort of brochures. Again, they were maybe like 6 pages long, like quite like an easy flip through with loads of graphics. We had those with us. We had managed to research as well, right before we walked in, what the name of the MD was, or at least tried to find the head of admin's name or something like that online. And we would literally sort of approach, the hospital's front desk with confidence, sort of introduce ourselves, things like that, trying to make us sound, bigger than we really were, and more lofty. And say, look, we have a healthcare partnership, things like that we want to discuss with the MD. And surprisingly, that really worked for us, because again, when I say that you're in a society where everything's about looks and it's ages and things like that, if you look the part and if you come correct and stuff like that, then most likely they'll try and let you through. So we would meet with the MDs, and then we'd start talking about our products. Somebody would bring out a laptop at the time and start going through it, even without the guy asking, bring our proposal as well. Sometimes if they didn't have time, they'd be like, okay, book with my secretary to come back and fully present. Or, sometimes they're like, please get out of my office, we're not interested. Or sometimes they'd actually stay and listen, right, and ask questions. So, that really helped us. Again, at the time that it stopped working for us, what really then helped us was then recommendations as well. So we would always ask our current clients, oh, please, if you can recommend us to Suso Hospital, oh, do you know anybody here? Or do you know anybody in this facility? Can you help us recommend? And do you know what's interesting about hospitals? That they're quite closed off because, again, it's almost a competition for them. So sometimes it's like, no, I don't want everybody using the same software I'm using. Why should they be using the same thing I'm using? So sometimes that wouldn't work for us. So we also then had to resort to going to all these sort of association meetings. So anybody that's familiar with the medical community, right, they have these AGPMP meetings, the sort of, I think they're monthly meetings for like GPs, what's it called, around the country and stuff and around different states. So we would literally go for those meetings. We would pitch our software, maybe the price of attending the meetings that maybe you'd have to bring snacks or something like that. So we'd show up with like meat pie and dinner and things like that, just so that we could pitch literally. You love the energy, right? We would do things like that. There's no conference we do not attend, and start handing out our flyer with or without them wanting us to do it. So literally, we basically did everything to just basically try and get the word out there about what we were doing and what we were about. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Wow, it's very, very insightful. Look the parts, definitely got that. That's that's the first rule. And I like the part about handing out meat pies. I doubt Helium Health also does that. But it's nice to attend the conference. Yeah. Yeah, but that's very insightful. So everyone asking question, I guess it's going out there. Some people are listening, some people didn't, and also she said a lot actually. Asking for references, and somehow it just clicked. Like she said, again, God bless Helium Health, first customer. So yeah, so we cannot say that more. You cannot say that too much, right? Okay, so thank you everyone. The polls. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, keep filling the polls. Then, okay, so we have Omozua here. Omede, yeah, you can ask your question. Bumped you up to ask it live. Yeah, hi.
Hi, Tito.
Hi.
Yeah.
So my name is Omozua Omede, and I'm a dreamer like yourself, but I don't know if you're still a dreamer anyway, because now you've achieved what it is you were dreaming of. But I've attempted trying to like run my own or start my own thing a couple of times. And back in school, I was quite introverted. I grew up in an isolated environment. My dad's a military guy, so it sort of affected me and my socializing skills. So I made this huge move last month. I moved to Lagos, and it's been really hard finding sports, or maybe it's my skills as well. And it's very hard to like push myself out there. So this is me asking, can I please intern for free? I'm not looking to get paid. I just want the knowledge. I have so much passion. Every day I come up with ideas. And sometimes I think I am the typical creative anyway, that, when I come up with an idea, I'm always improving. I don't start on time. So like the idea becomes something else. So I'm not really scared about people stealing my idea, because I could make it better like tomorrow. But then I know that I can't move if I keep doing that. I have to start somewhere and, be consistent. So I'm looking to like sharpen my pencil and just, grow. So yeah, this is me just asking.
So sorry, Tito, before you jump in. So Omozowa, I bumped you up because you're asking a question about yourself, right? So so I think we'll just leave it. I mean, it's nice that you shot your shots. But I think, she can just answer about that based on a young person and, how you can, I guess, do more. And the internship one, you guys can take it. I guess you can take it offline or take it up, right? Yeah. Okay.
So I understand. And by the way, I'm still a dreamer because I'm nowhere close to where I would want Helium Health to be. Let me be honest with you, until you see Bill Gates and I having brunch together, and he's discussing about how Helium Health has helped his foundation. Then know that I've not reached where we need to go to. So I'm definitely so I'm still a dreamer. I'm most definitely still a dreamer, and I think that truly, if you're truly invested in an organization, that you'll always still be a dreamer because you'll always want it to improve. And almost a lot of people are like you as well. Like, a lot of people didn't necessarily grow up with the right skills to be social and be able to network or things like that. And you may not know it, but even joining events like this, that Tech Cabal always has a million and one of them throughout the year. Joining events like this, participating, sort of asking questions, listening, you are already putting yourself out there. Even the events that they have sort of breakout sessions and things like that, you participating in that, it may not be a physical thing that you're doing yet, but you're really taking the steps to sort of put yourself out there and improve. So again, don't be so hard on yourself because you're already doing a great job, okay, and you're working towards that. I would say keep on sort of participating. Most definitely, if there are any sort of physical events, things like that, networking events, please do attend. With the internship with Helium Health, I know that we do yearly internships. I believe there's a link on our website and stuff like that I think that you can definitely apply through. But I think that we typically open it up around the summer period. So I want to say around like May onwards. And you can feel free to like email. I think we have like a career Helium Health like email address or something like that on our website. So feel free to like email through that. And let's see if we can do something earlier. But yes, we're always open to interns. And I think our internships are actually paid because, young people deserve money too. So yeah.
Yes. That's good. That's good. Good to hear that. Yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone filling the polls. So the next question I'd like to ask is, so this is by Bosalire Emeka, and he's asking, what barriers or entries did you face when forming strategic partnership with the big boys in the banking, financial sector, who plug on the billing payments, who connects the billing and payment bit of Helium Health? So your partners, like, what was it like, forming strategic partnerships with them? Banking, do you have partners, and what was it like forming partnerships?
Yeah. So it's most definitely a boys' club. I'll start with that. Of course, it's very, very difficult just because mindsets also you have to realize are very different. But I think we were already used to that because hospitals are the same way. Again, I think there was an earlier question about bureaucracy and things like that in hospitals. So again, by the time you're approaching a doctor who has been practicing for 20, 30 years, and maybe he's the first doctor to perform XYZ surgery on the West African, hemisphere or something like that, right? you already know that it's going to be an uphill battle. You already know that this guy is going to tell you that anything that you built, you can do better. So what was almost a blessing in disguise for us is that we were used to dealing with partners like that already, that sort of have a strong mindset, already believe in, sort of their own direction and them knowing better. So of course, when you're then looking at sort of wanting to get banking partners, which we do have, like Sterling Bank, again, already understanding how they operate, how it's a different mindset, how again they don't maybe necessarily they clock in and they clock out, not necessarily that you're up until midnight trying to solve a problem. Again, it's different. So you already know how to sort of already work around those partners. I would speak in general, right? Not just about banking. Working with partners are difficult. That's why choosing the right partner is also very important. So you don't put yourself in soup and you're not having sleepless nights about it. But again, I think you just have to go with that open mindset that they're not necessarily going to do the things you do, and you need to be flexible and malleable to be able to adapt depending on if you really do need that partner or not. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So what I heard was, yeah, there are, like, for lack of a better word, clubs and cabals here and there. Oh, Tito, are you there? Okay, maybe she dropped off. I'll continue. So what I heard, there are cabals everywhere, but you have to understand the system and recognize that they exist. And also, of course, start reaching out, and through your network and you'll be able to get in the same way, similar, I guess it's a similar analogy or similar way to getting clients, right? You just keep on reaching out. Thank you, everyone asking questions. I see people commenting in chat box. Thank you. It looks like Tito has dropped off, so I wouldn't be able to read any other question. Boma, glad to hear that this was insightful for you. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure she will soon hop on back. You can comment in the chat section about what you've learned or what you thought was really helpful or insightful to you. Yeah, so happy to hear that. Yeah, thank you, Florence. Curious to know what was striking for you. What did you find striking, or what did you think was insightful? Yeah. Aisha, by the way, if you're there, I see you have a question about females in the health tech space. I would like to ask if you would like to ask that live. So we can just bump you up so you can ask question before Tito comes back. Aisha, if you're there, just signify if you like to ask the question live. You had one about female mentors, and we'll bump you up. Okay, everyone. So just keep your comments coming, maybe where you're from or what you've learned. Curious to know what we've learned, and maybe I'm still seeing the questions, looking to ask one or two questions before we wrap up this session. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you just joined the conversation, this is Building from Ground Up. We're talking about how to assemble a star founding team. We have Tito Ovia, who is a co-founder of Helium Health. And Tito,
can you hear me?
We've had a great conversation. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay. Just confirm that you can hear me, so I move on to the next question. Wow. Okay. Tito is still trying to sort out our internet issues, but yeah. So we've been having a great conversation so far, talking about how to assemble a star founding team, talking about getting co-founders, to even assembling the right team. Let's see. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, sorry,
Okay,
I'm
yay,
back.
Tito is back.
Internet wanted to disgrace me as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, someone Israel is saying maybe Tito will help us build a startup that will make internet connection better in Nigeria.
Maybe
They
that's
say
the
you should
next dream.
focus,
Maybe that's the next dream.
you should move on. They should start working. Yeah. Okay, so I'll ask this question. This is by Aisha. It's like she's asking, where can other females and where can females in the health tech space find mentors, right? Support systems. What would you recommend for them? Yeah.
So, it's maybe this is quite controversial because maybe this is not what I'm supposed to say, right? So please forgive me. To be fair, it wouldn't be the first time I've said something controversial today, right? I don't necessarily believe in actively going to go and seek out mentors. I don't. I believe it's almost like a co-founder as well. It should be a natural fit, right? I don't believe that, for example, you should see somebody who is doing well and idolize them and say, this person must be my mentor, because you can meet them and they can be awful human beings, like awful, and it will shock you and it will be very upsetting as well. So I think mentors, whether male, whether female, right, and again, this goes for everybody, right? It should be natural. It should be, again, people that share the same values, people that share the same mindset with you. So there's not a market that you find the mentors necessarily. Maybe Tech Cabal will do a market for mentors, and you can pick the one you want depending on their profiles. But it should become a natural fit, and mentors come in very different shapes or forms. They come in forms of investors, they come in forms of clients, they come in forms of partners. So they don't even necessarily have to be people that are doing the exact same thing as you or have done the same thing as you, or people even in tech in the first place, right? I would say that the people, honestly, like I look up to and I sort of admire and I go to advice for, know nothing about healthcare. They don't even understand it. They don't even, but no, they don't. That's the honest truth. However, though, their advice to me is invaluable because they're able to provide a different perspective on what I'm doing, about what I'm doing, and sort of give me a fresh take. So, again, I honestly say that let it come naturally. Don't feel that you must, and maybe it's our society as well. We have a society of everybody must have a godfather to succeed. You don't need any godfather. Don't let anybody tell you that. Okay, so let it come naturally and be open that mentors can come in very many shapes and form of a partner, in form of a client, in form of a friend, for a family, again, anywhere. And Tech Cabal said that they'll build a digital market space for mentors.
As long as you be the anchor, put your face there as the.
Again, this is a great idea that people will be swipe left, swipe right. You can decide,
I see you haven't left that Twitter swindler thing. You haven't left it.
Look, I really wish that we could discuss more about Tinder swindler because. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, please, everybody go and see it. Okay, yeah. It's not that I've shared in the movie. It's very eye-opening. Please, everybody should be aware.
Okay. I'm sure that's one thing everybody will leave this event with. Actually, yeah, but that's a interesting response to the question. The fact that it's not just female mentors. So Tito is like, just look around you, they're all around you, and it's a thing of effort, right? So you're not necessarily, if one person isn't clicking, look elsewhere, right? Yeah, so that's a very beautiful answer to the question. And more controversial, interesting things said with that. Okay, this should be my, I think, final question. I know you haven't, somehow we didn't get to touch on the fact that, what's his name? That Helium Health also raised funds, right? Because I see some of the questions related to, I saw someone ask a question about, the MVP, how, what's the one now, how much effort should go into it. And now there's someone asking, how to get, talents without little or no funding. So I'm curious, right, what role did fundraising play? How did that play out? Let's just go through the flow. When you started, was it bootstrapped at first, or was it like backed by venture money from beginning to end? So just take us through, and I guess how it was, what it was like, I guess, convincing people to back your, who are just like, come, take all my money, take all my money. Yeah. So yeah.
So I'll say this, right? I hate fundraising. Again, I'm yet to speak to a founder that enjoys the process. Again, or maybe maybe they're masochists and they just like torture, right? Like tickets. So unless that, but I'm yet to meet somebody that actually enjoys the process. It's horrible. But again, if that's the direction you've chosen for your company, it's a necessary evil. I would put it. So let me start from the beginning of Helium, right? We actually bootstrapped the company ourselves and put in our own cash. Not because we wanted to, but because nobody was giving us money. And people were throwing cash at us in the beginning, right? And this is pre-seed. People were throwing cash at us in the beginning. Of course, we would have taken it and things like that, but nobody was. Prior to YC, we really, really did try to raise locally, and that was honestly the most difficult thing ever. I think the only organization that actually said yes, and not yes as in, are you people not the youth? We'll support you. Not that kind of yes. Like, yes, that they signed a safe document and, they put in cash, was VGG at the time. And, that was led by, Nicole Yambra. So, Nicole really believed in us. And, again, they were able to put, their money where their mouth was. But nobody else was looking to give us money. And it was even just around that time that we'd gotten accepted into YC. And I would really say that YC was the game changer for us. Because as much as we wanted majority of our capital to come from local investors, there's this kind of thing that I would like to say is almost like see finish, right? So it's like, they know what the healthcare system is like, hands-on. Those people giving you capital are the same people as well that send their families abroad or things like that. So personally, they're not even investing in the healthcare system. They're finding it difficult to be able to even see how this can even work because, again, it's see finish, right? And healthcare, unfortunately, for so long has been seen as a social service. And as well, you have to realize that we really came up in the time of, the pay stacks and the flutterways. And again, see fintech, right? So again, everybody's talking about fintech. You are talking about health tech. Why is your own different? Why must your own be different? Do you guess? Why must your own be different? So again, right? It's almost like, now that's not what's raining right now. So YC really helped us to expose us to a different pool of investors, right? That were international. And again, they were more interested in the impact of what we could do. They loved our drive and anybody that tells you at your seed stage, right? So they're investing in, the product or the companies, they're lying to you. They're investing in you as individuals, right? So, we met these amazing investors that believed in us, believed that, look, even if this idea didn't work, right, we were still going to take the cash and turn it around for them and turn this into a successful company because of how passionate and how driven we were and how knowledgeable we were. So that really helped us, and thus we were able to raise our $2 million seed round, right? Mm-hmm. This capital was so important to us because, again, it allowed us to be able to begin to grow, begin to afford, more people, organization, and as well sort of expand our footprint how we wanted to do it, right? Because of course our service is a very high touch kind of service. I mean, you're going in to be able to change the whole of somebody's operations with technology. It's not a plug and play thing, right? It's not. You need people hand holding constantly. So again, those first $2 million that we got was so important to be able to grow and take the company. It really helped us validate that, wow, we do have people that believe in us. So it was the confidence. And then, of course, when the time was right and we said, look, we want to take this company to the next level and we want to be able to expand and find more strategic sort of investors, we were able to raise our Series A, which is about $10 million. And this, again, I would say was really, let me not say the ultimate game changer, because if not, we're saying ultimate a lot. But again, it was another game changer, right? Because it meant that all these fantastic, fancy people that you want to hire somebody that's been in Deloitte for 15 years and they know operations in their sleep, like they dream about operations, you get to hire that person. You want to hire the head of HR that literally builds frameworks for a living. You get to find that person. Being able to find your dream data and product person, again, you get to do that. So again, that capital, what it allowed us to do is not only, of course, expand our product suite, but, I keep on emphasizing on people, right? Getting the right kind of people that we need that's going to elevate the organization. So for that was so important. So yeah, sorry, I'm in the dark right now, Africa. But yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite a day, internet and lights. But yeah, well, good. It's been quite insightful. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, so it's good that you said that, right? In the early days, it wasn't fun. There was little to no love, right? But fortunately, things worked out. The team were able to hold on with the funds you had, and YC came, and hey, here you are now, right? All smiles, right? So yeah, so that's definitely good to hear. Yeah, thank you everyone. With this question, I'd like to wrap it up, right? For if you have more questions, just find Tito and ask her questions about this, questions about Twitter Swindler. Yeah, just send it to her. Right, I'm sure she'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Tito, for taking our time to share your experience, insights, battling with the internet gods and everything. Hey, you made it. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love the conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Any final thoughts you have, Tito? Anything you want to? Any last words?
I would say, honestly, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. It's tough and it's a long ride. So please make sure you also, the one that you pick to do, make sure you actually really like it. Because it's not always going to be all smiles, but just enjoy it. Just enjoy the process. There will be hard days, there will be good days, but enjoy every single step of the way. And sort of just don't overthink anything, okay? And just, best of luck with all your ventures, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you very much. My colleague Michael has shared the post-event survey. We'd like to know what you think about the event, how we can make it better. If you want us to have Tito back here every week, we'll work to make it happen, right?
Don't worry, we'll discuss my appearance after. It's okay.
Yeah, don't forget, you're going to be like the headline, the face of the digital networking platform we're supposed to build.
I said, don't worry. Yeah. If somebody was asking about NDA, don't worry, we'll sign our own NDA.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah, so yeah, please fill the post-event survey. And also this time next week, we'll be having next session for Build Roundup with Elizabeth Tweedle, CEO of Cypher Coders. So the link has been posted in the chat room, so you can register. So yeah, sign up for that. And also, like I said at the beginning, the Building from Ground Up series is powered by UK Nigerian Tech Hub with Tech Cabal as an implementing partner. This has been great. The event was organized by Tech Cabal Insights, TC Insights is Tech Cabal's data research and intelligence units that provides actionable data in startups, tech ecosystem across Africa, to investors, entrepreneurs, big tech companies, regulators, and everyone. All right, everyone, it's been awesome. Finally, of course, please don't leave it without subscribing to TC Daily, which is the most comprehensive newsletter every day. Send top stories, important stories on tech in Africa to you. So yeah, please sign up. The link has been shared in the chat room. All right, thank you everyone. Let's not finally, don't forget to follow the UK Nigerian Tech Hub on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow them everywhere. And that's it from us. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Tito. We'll take the rest of the conversation offline and the NDAs and all of that. Yeah, but thank you so much. All right, everyone. Bye for now. See you next time. Bye, Tito.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.